Hockey docky.
Meow, 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 meow.
Meow meow.
All right.
Right, meow.
Meow meow.
All right.
All right. Audio's on. Beautiful. Nothing's crashing yet. Love it.
Yeah.
It's a happy Monday.
Yeah.
It's been a Monday.
Monday.
What?
It's Monday.
It's a Monday. Welcome back to D&D. Now we've got a Vivian back. So,
Yes, I have officially returned.
For now. So last time we had a nice late evening with Shri, Tio, and Kairos. With a nice little night on the town. Kairos wanting to escort Shri to the Mage College in Uhuru, known as the Solar. Not thinking that they closed the gates. Which they did. And on the way back to the Stone's Throw to turn in for the evening, they encounter a runaway carriage. Well, less so runaway than just speeding down the street, nearly running over a number of residents. Ultimately, they decided to stop the carriage to see what was going on by use of a well-placed web spell, flipping the carriage in a Michael Bay-esque fashion, where they see a rather bulky and well-armored orc carrying a rather large burlap sack and running down the street. Before they could chase him, they were accosted by several of his entourage. Well, one encounter later, one of the thugs or groupies was knocked unconscious, as the rest of the group was encompassed by a shroud of darkness, allowing the others to escape. And before our friends could interrogate the one that they had knocked unconscious, he was swiftly executed by some shadowy figure atop the roofs. And one interrogation by the police later, our friends returned to the Stone's Throw for the evening and turn in. And the next morning, Sharid, Tio, and Kairos meet downstairs and are informed by Ileana that today's Vocation Day. Vocation Day being a chance for residents of Uhuru to essentially try out. It's essentially a job fair for the 5 guilds. And there's a small festival going on in the center of town. So I believe we left off with the 3 of you heading towards the center of town. But is there anything that anyone would like to do prior to that?
Point of order. Didn't we claim another job off the job board?
Yes, you did accept the escort mission for the follower of Yikthix, who said he would meet you actually in the center market of town, wearing a red sash. So is there anything that y'all want to do before hitting the main market?
Yeah, real quick. Are we is this morning time? Or waking up?
Yeah.
Meeting in our area?
It's pretty early in the morning.
Would I be able to squeeze my way into the kitchen and make the party a meal?
You know what? Sure. We'll say that your new blossoming friendship with the goblin cook of the Stone's Throw has allowed you a few special privileges as far as cooking goes. It's almost a competitive friendship going on here, where one of you will make a meal, the other will try and kind of one-up it.
It's Thrax, right?
It is Thrax.
Thrax? Yeah. All right.
So,
can I try this cooking expertise?
Yeah. So as you cook, give me a D20. Just a flat D20.
Holy shit.
Hey, look,
Also,
you
you might
actually got
want
a 20.
unmute your music in case you are, just so you know.
Oh, we're not there yet. Don't worry.
Thank you.
I got buttons for it.
It's quite the way to start. Okay.
Yeah, you woke up this morning and decided, for once, not to choose violence. You speak to Elena, who lets you downstairs with Thrax. And it almost becomes a bit of a joint adventure of gathering meal supplies, putting some things together. And you come out with probably one of the best dishes you've made in recent memory. So much so that when you feed it to your friends, Kairos, Sharid, you feel almost empowered by this food. So Tio, go ahead and roll a new one on your table.
The cooking expertise?
Mm-hmm. On the buffs. So go ahead and click that meal buffs button in the description.
That one. Gotcha.
Yeah. So, all right. So this food actually imbues you with a short-term buff. So the next source of lightning or thunder damage you would have received, you have resistance to it. I believe up until your next short rest. Short or long rest. So if that's all, anything else you guys want to do as you're enjoying this meal? No?
Nope, just make sure they're all well fed.
Yeah. Sharid, I think you were the first one to actually try Tio's food in session 0, where he kind of made a nice little goodberry paste to kind of go over top of his food. This beats that out by a mile. It's very filling, very well done, very tender. And as I said, kind of makes you feel strong. Kairos, it makes you feel a little bit quicker mentally. A little faster on the draw.
Maybe I want to feel strong.
If you want to feel strong, that's fine. Twig
I want
arms.
to feel strong for once.
What's your strength? What's your strength score? Not great.
Not good.
So after enjoying the meal, you notice that the Stone's Throw itself isn't as crowded as it has been the last few days. You assume that's because everybody else is in the center market. So after you eat, clean up, you head out and make your way there. And the streets are still bustling, but as you get closer to the center of town, you see a walled-off section with 50-foot high walls and 2 entrances, one at the north and one at the south. You make your way around to the south entrance, and you can see market stalls actually lining the outside of the wall. And as you kind of look inside the entrance, you see that the center market is just jam-packed full of people, full of market stalls, and it seems like there are a couple of attractions going on. And you see, as you approach the center of town, your friend Vivian is approaching at the same time. So what would you all like to do?
Well, I guess she is alive after all. I stand corrected.
So Vivian, as you approach, you see your 3 compatriots all kind of approaching the market together.
Okay. Well, as soon as I see them, I will immediately run up to them with a huge smile and be like, "Long time no see."
Tell me, do you just sleep all day during the moon? The full moon?
I mean, sometimes. I mean, it is nice to, to sleep in once in a while.
Well, for what it's worth, I'm glad you're still alive. I thought for sure you hadn't made it after your wounds.
Oh, geez, I know that was quite a rough time before. But I'm grateful that y'all are concerned.
Did you have a good sleep? Did you get rest? Did you eat?
I
Yes,
didn't
he's
eat yet, but
He's rummaging for some leftovers or rations and just offers them just in this makeshift wooden bowl for you. Please, please.
oh, thank you. And I'll go ahead and take the bowl and examine what exactly is in it before I
Promise.
start eating.
Grits with leftover fruits.
Okay. Yeah, she'll go ahead and eat it.
So just like
It's
the
not bad.
others, it's delicious.
I prepared some of this from this morning. It was a good morning.
Oh, thank you. Very kind of you.
So as you all start to approach the entrance to the market, let's pop that on. Why? Nothing likes me today. As I mentioned, it's very crowded, and everyone give me perception checks. Nice.
I was so close to a nat 20.
It doesn't look like the thing is visible.
Oh, I
On
know.
stream.
I'm working on it.
Okay, no, sorry. Working on it. I'm just trying to distract away from someone's bad roll on this.
Yeah. There you go. It's loading.
I
Slowly,
could
but
change
it's
it, but I don't want it.
You can change what,
Kairos
how
is
badly
so
you roll?
overjoyed with the return of the big woman that he's distracted. From his friend Wednesday.
Come on. You can do it. I don't know why this wants to chug today. But eventually that'll pop in. So all of you, it's way too loud for Kairos and Vivian to really hear much. Tio, can you give me a perception check as well?
Oh, yeah, it was... Oh, it didn't show. What's that? Swear
Nice.
I rolled these. Distracted.
It's not great either. You all just see just a ton of people roaming around.
For a little bit of flair, I would actually think this would be in character for Kairos, being a little bit overwhelmed in a large crowd gathering and just kind of having sensory overload. I can actually see that being the case for him, where he's just
Mhm.
like, oh, that's too much happening. Because
And
like he can't just take it all in.
Yeah.
naive Kairos would probably only make that worse, being like, Kairos, isn't this a lovely place? Look at all the people and all the faces and all the colors of the stalls and look at everything that's on sale. Boy, everything's so expensive. The deals are over here, and he just keeps going on and on.
And Kairos is just like quietly receding into himself, just hyperventilating.
I feel like Vivian would definitely notice, and she'd carefully turn and quietly say, Are you all right?"
Yes,
Sharit will actually chime in after that comment and just be like, "What's the matter? Where's that quick wit at we know?"
He just probably like shoot you guys in like I'm in distress glance and just be like, I'm fine. I just don't like big crowds. It's all get a little loopy up here.
Apparently, that's not only whenever you're around big crowds.
Fucking
Well,
rude.
He's
if
like-
you need to, I say you're more than welcome to hold my arm if you need help going around these crowds.
He like thinks about it and like maybe like motions sort of. He's like, no, I'm fine. Thank you though.
What
be
about
just fine.
Well,
my
the
arm?
offers out there.
And he just like he starts walking after that because he's like, no, I'm just being made fun of. So he like pretends like he's going to go walk to an attraction.
Vivian will not fully closely follow behind, but just far enough because she's actually genuinely concerned. She's not trying to make fun of him.
So he doesn't get ripped off in the first like 5 seconds of being here.
Yep. I heard that.
Well, keep an eye out for red-sashed people, but otherwise, follow along.
Or dark cloaked people.
Oh, yep.
right. I finally have table. Um, there we go. Love it. You love to see it. Now, Sharid, as you're attending to Kairos's kind of overstimulation, you start to hear the sound of anvils coming from nearby. One singular anvil, but the hits seem expert, heavy, like they would easily move metal.
Would I've heard these sounds before in the city, right? Does it sound at all like anvil hammering I've heard before?
I mean, it doesn't seem particularly out of the ordinary.
Yeah. Okay.
But you do hear it coming from the area west of you. And as you look in that direction, you see there are a number of stalls, some of them selling weapons, some of them selling armor, and a number of people just kind of gathered around, either shopping, perusing, speaking with the folks running the stalls.
Yeah. I just realized how stupid my question was.
There are no stupid questions.
Carlos, I would like to investigate over at the mill over there. Would you care to join me?
Sure. It's far away from the noise.
It is the noise.
It is the noise.
How can you tell? Let's go.
Okay. So you two head off. Tio and Vivian, do you go in the same direction, or do you want to investigate elsewhere around here?
I mean, my plan was to follow Kairos at least a little bit behind, but I'll try to stay in the same general vicinity, knowing that Sharid is with him. But I'll try to venture off a little bit.
Okay. And Tio, you mentioned you were looking for somebody with a red sash.
Just keeping an eye out for the red sash, but I think what it'll do is, with them in sight, we'll throw out a carpet, take out a small little burner, and just start cooking a pot of something to sell.
Okay. Do you want to just do that at the entrance? Do you want to do it? There's a fountain center stage of this this marketplace.
Sure, like a point of view from the fountain to them.
Okay.
If you could.
So we'll say you head up this way. Tio and Sharid and Kairos, you head west and you kind of make your way, kind of weaving through the stalls until you see what seems to be a stage, which is where the anvil sound is coming from. And standing atop that stage is what seems to be a ganassi. Very lightly tinted red skin, long flowing flaming hair. Let's drop that down a little bit. There we go, that's better. And this is who you see.
Is this the woman that I've met before?
It is not. But the strange thing is, she's the one hammering on the anvil, and those heavy sounds, you can see the anvil is red hot, moving metal, but she's not using a hammer. Instead, it seems like flames are wrapped around her bare fists, and she is literally punching and moving metal on her own.
Dope. And on the way, Kairos would definitely be bitching like, yes, let's walk towards the sound. How can anybody even concentrate around here? Why would we even want to go over? And then, like, as he approaches, he catches, like, a glimpse of that and immediately forgets his anxieties and becomes, like, enthralled by that. So can I do, like, an Arcana check to see if I've ever seen anything like that before? Or just, like,
Sure.
or whatever you think would be appropriate? Because he's like, how the hell is she doing that? I want to know how she's doing that, basically.
Yeah, give me an Arcana check. Your best guess is that,
Magic.
I mean, to a degree, Ganassi seemed to be very in tune with elemental energies. That she seems to be focusing those energies into her bare hands for the purposes of shaping and morphing metal. Now, Vivian, you see Tio kind of break off and kind of set up a nice little cooking station around the fountain. And as you also hear the anvil sounds, but from where you're standing, you also hear the sounds of swords clashing from nearby.
Oh, I will definitely go check out that sound to figure out what's happening.
So the sound itself seems to be coming a little bit from the east, where you see what seems to be a couple of adventurers putting on a demonstration. And you can see that there is a crowd kind of gathered around them. And sitting on the bench opposite of where they're putting on this display is a familiar face.
Oh.
6-7 feet tall, bulky, white hair, white beard.
Oh, that's how I think it is.
It's your boy from the Stone's Throw.
Not her uncle?
That is her uncle.
I knew it.
You've heard him referred to as Grezik.
Grezik or Rezik?
Grezik.
Grezik, got you.
And you can see that the two putting on the demonstration are just into it. Very technical fighting. No magic, no nothing.
Interesting. Well, in the meantime, she will just casually walk over and take a seat next to Grezik.
All right.
Since it's at least a face that she knows.
And Grezik, for the most part, will 100% not acknowledge your presence there. Now, for reference, this man is large. Like, he's taking up a good portion of this bench, and as you just kind of sit down, you compare to him somewhat in terms of height. You are a fairly tall person, but not particularly very wide. You're able to sit comfortably on the bench, but you're almost like shoulder to shoulder with him. And he is just staring dead ahead. Just kind of like elbows on knees, just evaluating what he's seeing.
Okay.
So Tio, are you just trying to attract customers here? Are you just kind of setting up and seeing who comes over?
Yeah, you'll try and like sell to people, but also just try and gauge what the common people are interested in most by coming here.
Okay. And do you have any foodstuffs with you?
A little bit, but I was wondering, is there a chicken or chicken equivalent that would be very common in this area?
I mean, I would say that there would be chickens, yes.
Okay,
you do notice that there are a number of food stands here in this market.
Perfect. And then yeah, you'd be trying to like pester people, but he's not selling so much as concerned with trying to gauge the opinion of the common people coming through, and what their concerns are, rumors, etc.
Okay. So, roll me a flat d20. Okay. So you actually get a couple of people that walk up to you, but they look at you and they look kind of confused and be like, do you work for the Brewworks? Are you... They're normally the ones in charge of food here.
Oh no. He just motions at his carpet, which is like interlaced with chicken bones. Nope. This is just me. This is just T.O. Blast in the bed of bone.
Huh. Okay. And they kind of just... They don't necessarily... It's not like they don't want you there. Yeah. They just essentially pass you by and move on to another stall.
information. So people are kind of, there's a credit to selling here under a Brewworks versus independent.
And you
Okay,
see
gotcha.
that these people in particular are actually heading more to the north side of the market.
He doesn't want to, Tio is tempted, but doesn't want to leave line of sight from Kairos and Vivian and Sharif.
Okay.
He'll wait.
Do I notice this from where I'm sitting or no?
I'm going to say no.
No? Okay, damn.
Between the sounds of the fountain and the sounds of the demonstration in front of you amongst the crowd as well, you don't hear the direct interaction happening there with Tio.
Okay.
So back to Kairos and Sharid. You see this Ganassi just wailing on an anvil, and you're there for a few minutes, and you see her turn a solid iron ingot into a full short sword in a matter of maybe 10 minutes. Just kind of literally knocks it out. And you see that there's a bucket next to her. She quenches it, and you just see a well-crafted iron short sword. And when she's done with it, she hands it down in front of her to a person manning a weapon rack. And this person just seems to be a human, leather apron, work gloves, but they seem to kind of be drawing people over to shop and to buy and to kind of interact with.
Kairos is just gonna like pick his own jaw up off the floor and just like, while still watching, just like grab for Sharid and be like, Sharid, can you do that?
So, Sharid also is jaw dropped.
For a different reason.
Yeah.
Hello,
And just
ma'am.
You see he's like slapping him in the face a little bit, like, do you know how to do that?
I wish.
Well, let's find out. And Kairos like puts his hand up and goes, "Excuse me, miss."
So after she kind of reassumes her spot on the stage, she sees you just kind of waving your hand. And she walks to this other side of the anvil and sits on the edge of the stage. And there are some weapon racks between you and her. And she looks at you and says, "Yes?
How do you do that?
How do I do what?"
The swirly magic fire anvil thing. How do you do that?
Well, I am a Ganassi. I am a fire Ganassi. Which means I am very well versed in... Well, I can be well versed in the manipulation of things like metals and other flammable objects.
Can you teach me how to do that?
She looks you up and down, and she just shakes her head and says, "I doubt that."
Very well.
As you say that, you hear Sharid just go, teach me.
Teach me, mommy.
Inspired idea. Yes, teach him.
She looks at you, Sharid, and you see her head kind of cocked to the side and said, You're a Ganassi as well. Earth, based on the look of you.
Sharid doesn't respond.
Still just slack-jawed the entire time. And you just see her, "Hello? Hello? You all there, friend?"
Kairos, what did she say?
She wants to know if you're a Genasi. Right?
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, like he was saying that to him, like, right, you are, right?
Yeah, like he's nodding, but he's not sure whether or not he should nod yes or no.
So Kyra's like, yes, he is. We haven't known each
So
other
she-
long, but he is.
So she's just sitting here, feet dangling off the stage, and she just kind of rests her elbow on her thigh and her head on her elbow, or head on her hand, and she's just like, You don't seem to be all there, friend. Is something wrong?
No, nothing is wrong.
At the exact same moment, Kairos is like, I'm just a little nervous in crowds is all. Oh, you mean him, sorry.
Yeah, Cherie just gives you like this death stare.
Sorry,
Shut up,
This is my moment.
Yeah. He picks it up and
She looks at the two of you and says, "Are you two new here?"
Yes, we arrived only a few days ago.
Interesting. She mentions to you, Sharid, well, nothing's impossible. We do have a number of Ganassi working with the Soul Forged here in Uhuru. We have Ganassis of all types, earth, water, even a few air Ganassi. So I suppose I could teach you, just not in the fashion in which I do things, and you see those flames envelop her hands again.
I would greatly appreciate that, Miss.
She looks at you and just kind of smirks and says, "My name is Carmine. I'm the leader of the Soul Forge."
What a beautiful name you have. I am Sharid.
And she looks over at Kairos. "And you, little one?"
Kairos.
"Well, it's nice to meet the two of you."
And he pulls out Ion from the abyss and says, and this is Ion. And
I would like to
puts
think
it
that-
down on Sharid's shoulder.
I would like to think that every time you summon Ion, it's like being like jolted back to life. Jesus Christ, what?
Start getting creative with it, just pulling him out of weird places.
And
Well-
she nods at you and nods at Ion and says, "Nice to meet you as well, Ion." Now,
Trust
if you
me,
don't
the pleasure
mind,
is all mine, but I'm gonna let you two talk while I go find our friends. And he just like backs out of the conversation and goes to find the others, leaving Ion on Sharid's shoulder. Like he like completely cuts off what she was about to say and just
I see.
leaves.
Quite the interesting one you travel with, as she looks over at Sharid.
She says that to me.
Yeah.
You have no idea.
Interesting. So, before we continue that conversation, Kairos, where do you head to?
Kairos just kind of like picked up the hint, like Kairos is socially awkward, but he's not an idiot. So like he knows Sharid, you know, he's rooting for him. So he walks away, and it's just kind of like didn't have a plan. He just is like, oh right, shit, I'm here now. I'm lost in a crowd like a child by myself.
So you just start
I'll-
wandering.
Yeah, he's like, I'm old enough to figure this out, and then he just like starts walking straight. And it's just kind of like that'll work. I'll eventually see somebody.
Yeah. Just roll me a d8 real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay.
So you actually start wandering over to where Tio is.
Fantastic.
So you weave your way through the stalls that you came through, and when you pop out the other side, you see that Tio has set up camp in front of the fountain.
I walk over to Tio.
All right.
Are there like any people nearby at the moment?
Oh, there are people everywhere.
Okay.
Which
What was
you
her
can
name again?
Carmine.
And Tio's clearly trying to sell something, right? Like
Yeah.
food, I mean.
Yeah.
All right, so okay, all right. Time to shine. Time to shine, Kairos. He walks up and is like, "Excuse me, are you selling foods?"
Teal will take a moment and be like, yes, I am selling foods.
What kind of foods would you have available?
Well, this is a stew made with my finest broth and local meats. Much better than the Brewworks.
It certainly smells that way. I would like a stew.
He'll shape water a bit of the stew up and pull a cup up from his backpack and shape water it into the cup and give it to you. You're that famous Kairos hero, aren't you?
It crosses his mind like, shit, people probably saw us together before. He's like, oh, that was nothing. This food, though, is quite something. How much do I owe you?
At least 1 silver?
Yeah, he's just like he's looking around, like trying to talk louder, and he,
Question
like
mark?
hands him a silver, and is like, "This is the best stew I've had around here in a long time."
And you haven't even tried it yet.
No, he's like actively smelling it, and then walks away awkwardly with his stew, trying to advertise it. Like, all right, I tried.
So do you keep like the stew bowl with you, or do you just polish it off there with Tio?
He would be near, like he'd probably go find a seat nearby and start eating it.
And it's a bowl probably made from the skull of a chicken.
Excellent.
Nice.
And that for that very reason, Kairos would just be like skimming the top of the soup, like.
So, as you walk away with this chicken bone bowl, you head to the southeastern part of town, where something catches your eye off the reflection of the sun. You notice there are a lot of just gems sitting out in a nearby market stall.
Oh my god. I drop the bowl and immediately start walking over. Okay, I don't drop the bowl. I wouldn't do that. I take the bowl with me and try to find a place to conspicuously throw it out when no one else can see me doing it. Not because it's bad, because it's got a chicken head.
So you like
Cool.
walk past a tree that's planted in the area, and you're just like, and I'm just gonna dump
eat
that
this.
there, and you're just gonna kind of like set the bowl down in the grass.
He did eat it though. He just like wouldn't have made contact with the bottom of it. But yeah, he'd be like glancing over to see like, did it work? Is it getting attention? Like,
So
Yeah.
after you dump the bowl, you head over to a nearby market stall, and you see that the display case in front of you is filled with both raw gems and some that are interlaced in everyday objects. And the person working at the stall seems to be of an artisan persuasion. You see they have some goggles atop their head, some work gloves, not like a smith's gloves where they're so thick, but some to just be a little bit more tactile. Looks like this particular market stall is manned by an elf.
fantastic. Are there any books?
None that you can see right here.
Fantastic.
But give me a perception check real quick.
Rose, where are you? There we go.
Nice.
Still,
Okay.
still just a little distracted by all the stimuli.
No, it's fine. But before you continue on, let's shift back over to Vivian. Vivian, you're sharing this this bench, watching this display, and after a while, they seem to have come to a stalemate and sheath their weapons, bow to the crowd a little bit. They receive a nice round of applause from the nearby residents, and it seems like they just take a break.
Well, I'll certainly definitely clap along when everyone else does. And then I will sort of cock my head to the left a little bit and be like, well, that was some performance.
He doesn't move his head, doesn't shift. You just hear her say,
Well, that reaction. Were you not impressed by their swordsmanship?
For once, he actually
He's still
speaks some,
silent?
he speaks a couple words to you. He says, they still need a lot of work.
How so, if you don't mind me asking?
You see that he turns his head slightly to look at you. Seems to be the good eye that's looking at you. And he says, they're too green. They'll die in a heartbeat out there.
Fascinating. I mean, I'm not really one for using a sword or anything, but I love learning all types of different techniques, so... It's really cool how you got a keen eye for it.
Well, I should. They all work for me. And he turns his head more to look at you and he says, you do too.
That is fair. I am, obviously new around these parts, so try my best to learn what I can to hone in my skills. And she hesitates a little bit when she says that last word, just a little bit.
And he says, he shifts a little bit to put a little bit of space in between, and he turns his entire body, which it's like watching a wall turn to look at you. And he says, what skills might those be?
You see her kind of like gulp because she's kind of like, oh shit. But she'll try to set it straight as she can. With spell casting and with who I am, without obviously pointing it out what she is, because she doesn't like to go over that with anyone.
So, one of the spell types, huh?
Yes,
tell me.
yes, I am.
What do you do to actually protect yourself?
Well, first of all, I always cast like mage armor on myself, just so I at least have some form of armor, since I typically am not the kind to wear, the heavy type of armor. At least in a sense. And, try to keep myself, or give myself a little bit of distance between myself and the enemy, because I feel like if I get up close, then I'm not going to be as useful to my team, and that could be very fatal in a fight.
Team, you say?
Well, my new friends, I feel like I'd consider ourselves a team.
And you hear him kind of let out this kind of gruff, just, huh. What makes you think you can trust these new friends of yours? How long have you known them?
Well, I've only known them for, it's been a couple days. Okay. Well, it's been a couple days, but I feel like I see something in all of them, and I feel like I can get an idea of whether they can be trustworthy or not, considering life experience and all. I feel like they're not a threat to myself, or else I wouldn't be with them.
Interesting. And what feeling do you get from me, little lady?
Well, you definitely can be quite intimidating as she try to really looks up at him, because there's still I feel like at least a significant amount of height that he has compared to her. But from what I saw with your niece, you're also very kind-hearted and caring deep down, and that you would do anything to protect your family.
He looks at you, and you can tell that he didn't expect you to actually see that, so he just kind of goes stone-faced and says, interesting. And what do you think of my niece?
Well, she's definitely very outgoing, can very much handle herself. Definitely not one to pick a fight with.
He kind of nods in agreement, and then you see his kind of gaze kind of drift elsewhere for a second. He says, if you think she could handle herself, you should have seen her mother.
I'm assuming by that sentence that she's no longer with us here.
You could say that.
I'm sorry to hear that. But I'm sure she must have been a great person from what you're saying there.
My sister was the best person I ever knew.
I'm sure she'd be very proud of you for how far you've come, and for taking care of her daughter. It's not easy.
He looks you. He kind of looks you up and down from where he's sitting. And he says, listen here. Of the rest of the new breed that's been signing on to the guild, you don't seem half bad. You've already helped out a couple of people here in town, mostly Nona, and let's be honest, she needs a lot of help. So here's something I'm going to do for you to kind of test your mettle.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a job myself. And he says, go ahead.
I was gonna say a job. What kind of job?
One that's not going to get finished anytime soon. More of a reconnaissance job.
Okay.
While you're out completing other requests from other residents, I want you to keep your ear out for someone.
Okay, I can do that.
He's a devil breed. Glasses, white hair, black horns.
Okay.
You hear of anyone like that? You be sure to give me a message, you hear?
I will. 100%. You got my word.
And that goes for your friends, too.
So we should definitely get a hold of you first. Do not interact with them at all.
Well, how you choose to go about it is up to you, so long as I know.
All right. I'll keep that in mind.
Good. And then he kind of turns back as the two adventurers start to put on another demo.
All right. Well, from that, I will quietly stand up and excuse myself. And saying like, "It's good. It was good seeing you, but I gotta get back to make sure my friends are doing okay."
Okay. So now we'll shift back to Tio. Tio, as you're looking around, go ahead.
I was gonna say, can I actually head towards Tio?
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
Tio, as you're going around asking folks about things, kind of gathering some information from the residents in the area, your initial interpretation is essentially confirmed that the brew works. If you want food, like food, you go to the brew works or you go to the Bard's Blood, which seems to be their headquarters here in town.
Right.
All the farmers in the area kind of report to the brew works. But as you're looking around, you spot that Vivian's heading back towards you. But more so than that, on the other side of the fountain, very opposite you are, you see a man sitting on the bench. You notice Grezik on the bench that Vivian's coming from, yes. But this man, bald, older, yellow robes with a red sash. And you can see that hovering above his open hand seems to be a butterfly that just lands on the tip of his finger.
I recall one of these guilds nearby is themed with yellow and shields. Is that correct?
The entire city is...
Okay.
That's the seal of the city. And actually, since you brought that up, last time you did see the guards roaming around in yellow armor with an insignia on it. And this is what that insignia looks like.
Right, yes. And is this person wearing something similar or in theme to this?
Coincidentally, but no insignia on his clothing from what you can see. This seems to be the man that you see.
Huh. Is this necklace in the image something that this character is actually wearing too? Or is that just flavor?
It's just flavor.
Okay. Okay. Well, Tio will first bring up a cup of, well, actually just a drink, and see Vivian coming over, and just he'll crawl over and then stand up. Did you enjoy the show you saw over here?
I very much did. Oh, thank you.
There's
And she'll go take it and start drink the water.
some interesting individuals. I just want. I don't, do you mind watching over the hot plate for a moment?
Oh, not a problem, of course.
And you'll grab another bone bowl and just shape water up some stew into it and approach this gentleman. Excuse me, sir. Hello. Would you be up for trying a sample of some bone broth chicken stew?
Bone broth, it's all the rage. He looks at you and he kind of looks you up and down, and his voice sounds... You would expect someone of his age to sound tired, but that's not necessarily the case. He sounds like he has kind of an energy about him, and he just says, I haven't seen one of your kind in quite a while.
Is that a good thing?
Well, considering the last time that I did, it didn't end well. Let's just say that.
For them or you?
I'm here, aren't I?
He's a racist. Back out.
Well,
He
this is a
says-
sample for you, sir. He just offers the bowl, and he's just curious if you'll even be interested in a free sample.
He looks at it, gives it a smell, and he says, is there any meat in this?
Only if Thrax would have provided him some. And I'm guessing no.
Probably not.
This is a vegetarian take today.
Good. He picks up the bowl, and he gives it a good taste. And
No, it's made from bone broth, come to think of it.
it doesn't seem to bother him one bit. He actually slurps down the whole bowl and hands it back to you, and he says, quite refreshing. Not very filling, but refreshing
No.
nonetheless.
Just a sample. Now, you're an experienced man from these parts. Am I right?
Experience? Some could say that. From these parts? Not quite.
Well, where do you hail from, good sir?
He says, I'm a bit of a nomad myself. I spend quite a bit of time moving between towns, looking for kind of a space for catharsis.
A space for what, sorry?
A catharsis.
Ah, okay.
I thought he said.
I am looking for Cthulhu.
Yeah.
He mentions to you that he is a devout follower of one of the primals by the name Yicthix.
Sorry, the primal name Yicthix, or is his name Yicthix?
No, the primal's name is Yicthix.
Oh, that's some... He stumbles over his words, not giving away that he's looking for Yicthix, but... Oh, is Yicthix a reliable person, would you say?
Well, he's a greater elemental. I would hope he's reliable. The very earth you walk on was created by Yicthix.
Well, it was nice meeting you. Sorry, what's your name?
He says, my name is Men.
Man, okay. I gotta go. And he'll immediately start scrambling back to Vivian and Kairos, who might be there.
And he kind of just his head follows you, looking fairly confused, and then just kind of turns back, just kind of enjoying the area immediately around him.
Tio's doing that, like, lizard run back to the others. Vivian, Kairos, I'm a little worried. I got some news about who Yicthix is.
Well, Kairos ran off to a nearby market stall as soon as he saw shinies.
Oh, no. Where did Kairos go?
I don't know. I thought he was with Cherie last time I saw him.
I think we're chasing a big, bad elemental thing. He'll start rolling up.
What?
He'll extinguish the flame and rolling up his carpet.
What do you
I don't know.
mean we're dealing with an elemental? I'm
Oh,
still
well,
trying to
that-
say it as quiet as possible, but it's like obviously panicked.
This man over here seems to know one of our contacts here as an elemental. So either he's misinformed or we are.
Well, we need to find the others, obviously.
Or I'm on a complete tangent chasing a rabbit in a hole.
So we'll
Well-
shift over to Kairos, staring at one of the display cases. What would you like to do, Kairos?
I mean, I would like to browse the wares and see what they have. I mean, like, what would be, what's the kind of stuff they would have that I would be interested in, other than all of it? Is there
You
anything
notice-
that stands out?
Well, so you notice that all of the raw gems do radiate magical energies. Your
And
best
so are
guess
these-
is that these are all spell gems.
Fantastic. So, given his profession and method of study and all that, his field, would he already know, would you say, what most, if not all of these things are? Or what they would do? Or
You
no?
wouldn't necessarily know the magic that they contain. You do recognize them as spell gems, and that they are magical by nature. But you wouldn't necessarily know. It usually takes a little bit of extra investigating and identifying before you can actually determine what spell lies within a spell gem.
And he doesn't have it, like, labeled or anything?
No.
Okay. Then, yeah, I guess
That's
he would
what
try to get his
conversation's for.
attention.
That's how you really market things. Like, sir, what's this?
Right, yeah.
So
So I guess-
Go ahead.
Well, I'm trying to remember. He would try to get the guy's attention, and just say, "Excuse me." I'm looking through my notes. Are you from the Solar?
The elf turns to you, fitted with, again, work gloves, goggles, and he says, "No, I think you've got the wrong stall for that. Typically, the Solar doesn't like to quite sell things. Real private bunch, them. I'm a Solitariat working for the Curio."
Oh, fantastic. Well, you're actually just the sort I was interested in meeting. Can you tell me more about what you have here?
You see his hand just kind of sweep over the display case. Well, I mean, we typically keep a nice basic stock for most of the residents here. He points to a couple spell gems. He's like, this one contains a light spell. This one's a produce flame. This one here is a true strike for those adventurers that like a little extra buff. And then he turns over to some of the actual items that have these gems integrated in. And he pulls up a lantern. He's like, you see that spell gem with the light spell in it? We actually managed to put one here in this lantern for ease of use. So all you have to do is speak its command word, and he kind of whispers a word into the lantern, and it just shines brightly in front of you. Whispers another word, and it goes out.
Fascinating.
And he just kind of keeps pointing over some of these basic level spells integrated into everyday objects.
So, is it safe to say that this would be like a new experience for Kairos? Kind of like, literally like, not the Holy Grail, but like he's literally just stumbled upon a group that is doing exactly what he wants to learn more about doing. And
Yeah, so this is your first interaction with somebody actually just selling these gems. You've met a couple
Yeah.
of people that simply have them by happenstance. Not sure where necessarily they got it from, but
yeah.
you seem to have come upon a source of these gems.
Okay, so he'd probably be like listening to him give his sales pitch and stuff, but he'd probably say, "Tell me, are you in the business of taking on new people who have the same interests as you?"
He looks at you, seeing that you're a man of knowledge, and he's like, "All right, you seem to have some wits about you. How good are you with your hands? Would you consider yourself a craftsman?"
I consider myself more of a researcher, but it has resulted in some interesting, and as he says interesting, he makes the shield produce. results, and like recedes it back in.
He just kind of nods. He's like, Well, ultimately, I don't make that call. If you see Lady Agora, she might be able to help you out. And he kind of points over his shoulder, directing you to the very back wall behind these stalls, where you see a woman, gray skin, almost stone-like, but not quite to the same degree as your friend Sharid. Well-built, muscular, long hair in a bandana almost. But you notice, above all else, this woman is huge.
Noise.
This woman is at least 8 to 9 feet tall. Yeah,
All right.
She's sitting on the ground, up against the wall. Eyes white as snow, no color to them. And as the artisan kind of gestures to her, you see her head kind of move in that direction. And for a closer look, this is who you're looking at.
Awesome. What did you say her name was?
That'd be Lady Agora. She's the leader of the Curio. Would you like to meet her?
Huh. Yes, I would absolutely like to meet her. But before I do, quick question. Do you have anything that is, how do I put this, explosive?
Well,
I need some more firepower.
not here. We typically keep most of the safe gems here for residents to use. Can't have folks just letting off fireballs and cones of cold everywhere.
Suppose that's wise.
But if you come by our base in the southeastern part of town, maybe you'll be able to find something. That's typically where we do a lot of our research and development on these kinds of items. But I'll warn
In
you,
my head,
it's not cheap.
I have my methods. Thank you. And Kairos.
He kind of nods and kind of gestures you back.
He had his hand out and was expecting a handshake in his name. He's
Completely
like,
ignored.
yeah, just completely pissed. I feel like as a player, I'm struggling with the decision to have Kairos do an insight check on these people. But to be completely honest, I think he's just so that wouldn't even cross his mind between the sensory overload of the town and then just stumbling upon this after the weird chain of events that brought him to the table. I don't think he would be thinking necessarily like on top of his game. So I think he would just be like, okay, I'm gonna go meet this person. So he just,
Everything's so
starts
shiny
wandering.
and new.
Yeah, so I think he would totally just start walking over to Lady Agora.
All right. So you make your way through the market stalls, and as you pass by the last one, you see you are within maybe 5 feet of this woman, and you have never seen someone so large in your life. And as she kind of tilts her head down, and you can see, even though those eyes are white, they are staring right through you. We're going to shift back over to Sharid and his conversation with Carmine. So, Sharid, you have asked Carmine to teach you a thing or two. What exactly are you wanting to learn here?
So I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I do have many questions for you. Would it be possible to discuss things a little bit further, perhaps after the event?
Well, I don't see why not. Is there anything in particular you'd like to know?
I have so many questions. For example, I'm
What's your
just
number?
curious how you're able to use your primal energies to manipulate such things with such finesse?
Well, that there's a kind of simple answer. You see, before I was a smith, I was an adventurer, much like the rest of the leaders of the guilds here. And you see, I'm very partial to these hands here. Never was one to really use too many tools or anything like that. And over time, I just found I had an affinity for fixing folks' equipment and faces.
It's wonderful. I'm sure you have many stories to tell.
More than you can count.
I would love to hear some sometime.
She kind of chuckles at you and she says, well, if you come by our base in the southwestern part of town, maybe we can... She kind of looks you up and down in your equipment. Maybe we can set you up with something a little nicer, as well as a few stories here and there.
I would love that. Does the day after tomorrow work for you?
She kind of looks around, she thinking to herself, all things considered, maybe, yeah. Come by and we'll see what we can work out. And what's your name again?
I'm sorry, my name is Sharid.
Sharid. All right. Well, I look forward
And-
to seeing you.
If I may ask, is there any type of cuisine that you prefer? I have a friend who is a wonderful cook.
She says, well, I really eat pretty much anything, but I do love spicy food.
I will keep that in mind. Miss Carman, it has been a pleasure as I take a low bow.
She just kind of nods her head, and then she hops back onto her feet on stage. And as a crowd starts to gather, you see her just kind of like stretch out her joints a little bit before her hands envelop in flames again. And the person who is down below the stage selling the wares brings up a few more ingots of iron and set them on the anvil in front of her. And you see, in addition to her hands, one of her feet also envelops in flames, and you see her just let down this giant axe kick that starts heating up one of the ingots of iron.
Out of curiosity, this is to you, the DM. Are there any tip jar or anything? Is this a performance as well as a production?
It's a performance, but less so for money and more so just for attention. It gets people coming to the market stalls, asking questions. It's a recruitment tactic.
I see. Well, then Sharid will take his leave and step up out of the crowd. But before he gets too far away, he takes one moment and looks back at this beautiful woman. Smiles.
Yep.
And
you
then
see her
says to
again.
himself,
Good.
now where the fuck is the other one?
You look back, you see this woman just beating the shit out of an anvil wreathed in flames. There you go, just for another little taste. And then you turn back towards the crowd and you start scanning for Kairos. Give me a perception check. Alright. You manage to peek right through a couple of market stalls, and you do spot Kairos. You see that he's facing someone as if to talk to them. You can't quite see who he's talking to, though, just because there's so many stalls in the way. You also manage to see that Vivian and Tio are still up by the fountain, conversing.
I make my way to Kairos.
Okay. So, you start making your way downtown, walking fast. And while you're on your way there, you do eventually spot who Kairos is talking to, this 8 or 9 foot tall, gray-skinned woman.
Sure, he's gonna have a heart attack.
Yeah, he is. And after a few minutes, you do manage to kind of work your way through, and you arrive to where Kairos is. But we'll shift back to Vivian and Teal. So, you two were discussing this gentleman across the metaphorical pond or fountain.
Yeah. Tia's scrambling, putting his pots into his backpack and rolling up his blanket there. Dude, have you seen him? Have you seen Kairos or?
No. And I will look around. Do I notice Sharid walking past at all?
Give me a perception check at advantage.
Advantage?
Because you're now getting used to the crowd. You're able to kind of
Okay.
work your vision through a little bit.
You see Kairos holding hands with someone in the background being led nefariously
Let's
away.
go.
Yep.
Nat 20.
You spot to the south Sharid kind of weaving his way through the crowd to head to the market stalls nearby.
Well, I see Sharid. He's going over there and
what?
goes, yeah, he's just walking past right over there. Let's go follow him. You got all your
Okay.
stuff?
Yeah, he'll strap this stuff back on his backpack and just do a double check. Okay, let's go.
Okay, let's go and just start gunning it.
Okay. So before you all arrive, Kairos, you approach this large woman. And she's
Yes.
staring into your very soul.
Fantastic.
And she looks at you, and despite someone so big, you expect her voice to be booming. It's actually comforting. It's gentle. It's got a degree of finesse in the manner that she speaks. And she looks at you and she says, "Yes, little one? How can I help you?"
Well, my name is... He, takes a second to, get himself over her image,
Mm-hmm.
And then once he kind of rebuffs himself, he's like, my name is Kairos. And he, puts out a hand to see if it works with her this time. Does anyone want to shake his hand?
She looks at her hand and she looks at yours. And she holds out a pinky. And she says, "It's nice to meet you, Kairos."
Yeah, he shakes it emphatically. I was told by one of your workers over there that you might or might not be interested in taking on additional help. I have a vested interest in your kind of work, and I'd love to learn more about what you have going on here.
She kind of gestures sweeping to the entirety of the market, and she says, "That's what today's all about. This is
So it
all
is.
to gather new hands, gather new minds, gather new help."
I'm afraid my hands won't be of any use, but my mind probably would. Is there any use you might have for something like that?
Possibly. What makes you so interested in us?
If I'm being honest, it's not so much about you, it's more about your work. I wish to study the spell gems and figure out what causes them to tick, so to speak.
And you can see that she's kind of scanning you up and down. And you see her kind of raise an eyebrow a little bit. And she says, "It's not so uncommon for folks to be interested in these gems, but it seems as if you've had some personal contact with one such. It's changed
have.
you."
This is true. A few contacts, actually. Perhaps we can discuss another time, but at the moment I'm merely curious if you actually are interested in additional help, and if so, what I can do.
She kind of ponders to herself a little bit, and she says, we may have use for a researcher. Most of our organization is comprised of artisans that also take part in research. But if you are academically inclined to assist in our practices, then maybe we can find a use for you.
That would be fantastic. He kind of waits for her to continue, like, okay, give me the deets. You know what I mean? Kind of a thing, like, where do I go? What do I need to do? Sort of thing.
She says, well, we are currently accepting any available hands, assuming that they can be of proper use. So why don't you come down to the Wild Quarry? It's a tower in the southeastern part of town. I'm sure you'll have no problems finding it. Folks often come to us directly to purchase gems and gem amplified items.
Absolutely. I'll be there. And we don't necessarily need to roleplay this part out, but he would probably continue picking her brain until she clearly gets bored of him. Like asking questions about what the organization's like, what their goals are, like just being really incessantly annoying about it.
No, yeah. So she will actually answer your questions with a startling degree of honesty. She will tell you that the Curio as an organization has the goal of creating a stable economic connection with the city-state of Kesho, which is where they often will mine spell gems, amongst other minerals and items. And they want to make magic accessible to all with the use of spell gems.
Close enough.
So as she's explaining this to you, you feel a hand on your shoulder as Sharid makes his way through the market stalls. So Sharid, what do you do once you see this large woman?
My friend, I see you found one too.
God. He just turns around
no.
and goes, Sharid, this is Lady Agora. Lady Agora, this is Sharid and my owl, Ion. And he, like, pulls him back.
She looks at you, Sharid. She nods her head in welcome, but you see that her gaze at you is perplexed. She looks at you and she says, You are not natural. Your body...
How rude. No,
She
I didn't
says,
say that.
she says, your body's in flux. You are a Ganassi from what I can sense of you. But your current state is not one that you will share permanently. And so she asks you, how did you become the way that you are?
I was trying to think of something smart to say, but no. How do you know such things?
She says, we'll call it an intuition. These eyes, while inconvenient in some senses, allow me to actually see more than most.
I do not know. I woke up like this just a fortnight ago.
She says, fascinating. Were you in the wilds?
It was indeed.
And you remember nothing? She asks you if you would... Do you want to know what happened to you?
Sharid looks at her kind of very suspicious. What is it that you know?
Myself? Nothing. However, I am descended from stone giants, and amongst them, dreamweavers. Some of my ancestors found ways of entering the dreams of others for both the purposes of helping along spiritual journeys, gathering information, and sometimes even disinclining specific individuals from interacting with our clan.
That is interesting.
She says, "You'd be surprised what a dream can hold."
How do I know I can trust you?
You don't. After all, we've only just met. Mr.
You know my name. You said it earlier.
Oh, did I? Okay.
That's
So she said, "We only just met. You can't guarantee that you can trust me. I am simply asking you to. If you so choose."
I think we should trust her.
Of course you do.
She says, "I in no way will pressure you. Think it over."
Very well. Where might I find you?
You can find me at the Wild Quarry, the home of the curio.
Kairos says it like with her.
Very well. You shall know my response by tomorrow.
So it's about this time. You all hear some more rustling from the tents nearby as Vivian and Tio kind of round the corner. And now you two see this very large gray-skinned woman.
Hey, are you guys busy? I have something to tell you.
Ah. Sorry. So I had a thought and then I changed my mind.
Yo, are you all right?
Oh dear, I'm so glad you're here, my friend. I have a favor to ask of you.
Oh, what? What? Anything?
How skilled are you at preparing spicy foods?
Oh, more than pepper, my friend. Capsaicin is an essential ingredient. And you'll just rant on a little bit about some peppers,
This
ironically.
is wonderful.
Well, sorry, go ahead.
If you don't mind, the night after tomorrow, I have a engagement, and I would love to commission you to make some of your finest spicy foods. Just let me know
Yes.
what you need.
That'll be great, so long as we don't get destroyed before tomorrow.
Why?
While that conversation is happening, I will sneak my way in to the crowd, or I guess closer to the lady. So I'm just like kind of, if I can fit anywhere.
No, you can. Yeah.
Oh, now I'm down there. Cool. I'm just very curious. So I don't think I've ever really seen anyone like her up close before.
Do you make yourself known being there, or?
She doesn't try to hide as much, but she definitely has her face veil on to hide her lower half of her face. Just
So-
because she doesn't know this person just yet.
Yeah. So as Tio and Sharid are going back and forth, you kind of peek around the corner and you see this giant woman just sitting on the ground, leaning up against the wall. You notice that there's a large club behind her back. And then you see her head slowly turn towards you. And you see her just gesture to come closer.
She'll nod and she'll slowly walk forward.
And she leans in and says, "How can I help you?"
Well, I was mostly here to see where all my friends were at, but I was just kind of curious as to who you are, as I don't think I've ever seen you before or anyone quite like yourself.
Well, that's a fair evaluation. Most in this town haven't seen folks descended from my clan, especially not ones so vertically gifted, we'll say. Most of my kind are your size. She says my parents' genes just seem to be a little bit stronger. But she says, where are my manners? My name is Agora. Agora Strix. I am the leader of the Curio here in Uhuru.
Oh, pleasure to meet you. My name's Vivian, and I'll carefully hold out my hand towards her. And the hand is definitely, obviously, the skin's kind of a little sunken in, kind of bony, but obviously the skin's fully intact.
She does the same thing to you that she does for Kairos, except you see her lean in a little bit closer. And again, her voice is almost graceful in how it sounds, and she just whispers to you, you should be very careful. Not all will appreciate one of your disposition.
That much I'm aware as I grab her pinky and carefully shake it. I've been run out of many towns, many villages. That's why I try to hide myself for the most part.
She's kind of nods in recognition. And you notice that in one of those milky white eyes, she does give you a wink before sitting back up straight.
Okay. She doesn't know what to make of that, but she'll kind of, right herself up and stand up straight as well.
So back to Sharid and Tio.
Yes. Can I engage Sharid?
Yeah.
Sharid, do you still have those details of that job that was on that posting? Do you remember what it said about this escort?
You can
Me,
find
the
it in
player,
your quest
no.
log. You can find it in your quest log.
Oh, in the quest log, okay. I'm not used to these types of advanced features, okay? Quest log, there's a macro for that. Number 6.
There is.
In progress.
Mine is empty.
Nothing. Yeah, I found it, the quest log.
Yeah, God, Gary, we already looked there. Jeez.
Hang on.
These eyes.
So you don't see anything in
Well,
progress?
Yeah, dude, yeah.
As a follower of the primal
There it
Yicthix, I wish to visit the swamps to the east that are thought to be of his domain. This is a lifelong desire of mine, and request your aid to see it done. I shall await the response in the shed
Want to try that again?
central market of town. I bear a red banner on my person to make myself easier to find.
So, Sharid, the old man over there, he'll try and point through the crowd and probably fail to do so. There's an old man over there, and I heard that he described Yicthix here as a great elemental. Is that a thing to be concerned of?
Not for me, my friend.
Should I be worried?
I don't know. Are you worried?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
So
You're
Sharid,
an
give me a
experienced traveler.
history check.
You said Sharid?
Yeah.
Sharid will give you a history check.
Okay. So you've, over the course of the last few days or week that you've been here in town, you've come to understand a number of things, including the existence and purpose of the beings known as primals. They were apparently 4 great elemental forces that shaped the world as we know it. Yicthix is known as the god of the eternal spore, and is responsible for the earth, woods, winds, a lot of the physical features here of what you see around you. So, while yes, Tio is correct that it's a great elemental force, it is essentially akin to a god, which many people in Velt worship one, if not more, of the primals for one reason or another.
A Yictix is a greater god or a lesser god?
No real distinction, just a god.
Just a god. Are you a god?
It's tough to be a god.
Somebody asks if you're a god, you say yes.
I love that movie so goddamn much.
Yeah. Anyway. So what was the question you asked?
Should we be panicking, or is everything okay? Are these people safe?
You know, I'm not the person you should ask. Perhaps Kairos can look into the future and tell you whether or not we should be concerned.
Huh? Is Kairos nearby?
Yeah. He's
yeah,
right behind
I have
Shuri.
gone back to looking through.
just
see guys
looting
like
the fucking market streets. This is mine.
No. But before that, as part of Vivian's interaction, at the moment where she said she got like run out of town and stuff, Kairos would have been like passively listening, and I imagine as their conversation ended, he would have just like patted her on the back and been like, "It was their loss." But anyway, then he would have gone back to rummaging through bell gems.
Would I have noticed him come up behind me
Probably.
for that, or probably?
Yeah.
Okay.
You all look close enough that you are aware of each other's presence.
Okay. Oh, I didn't think you heard that conversation, but thank you. I appreciate that. That's very sweet of you to say. No one's really, been that kind about that before.
Yeah, he just nods and just goes back to his work. Not work, to his interests.
Yes, more gems, more shinies.
I guess that is kind of his work, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. Telling you, we should have just made Kairos a goblin. Just give me the shinies.
Yeah,
Oh my
honestly.
God.
Or a Vidalcan or something.
Yeah.
I will say, what he is passively doing is looking for any, like, spell gem that he might find of use, like, and I don't know, but that he might actually want to purchase. But, carry on.
So, Tio, do you approach Kairos?
Yeah, okay, yeah. So Tio's like stumbling through people, excuse me, and he just kind of actually just moves some people out of the way, getting over to Kairos. Hey, Kairos, and he just like smacks him on the shoulder. Kairos, hey.
Yes, did our little idea work? Did you get any customers?
No, not a single dime. Or coin. Or bone.
Speaking of, I'll take that coin back then.
Oh, yeah, he just gives it right back. I got some information on that, I heard something about that Yictix person.
Oh, yes.
Actually, Sharif did share that it's a god? Did he? Or did he? Was that shared out loud? Okay.
Yeah.
Would Kairos already know that? Is that fair to argue?
Being an academic, it's not exactly secret information. Yes.
Then yeah, and you said he was like the god of spores or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, then he would be like, oh yes, the god of spores. Yes, why?
Tio's like panicking. I'm like, what do you mean, just the god of spores? Just put up a posting on a bar? Are we okay? Is this normal?
How? I mean, so I don't, as a player, know enough about the lore to know how Kairos would react. So
You would probably be able to put two and two together that it wasn't the god that put the posting up, it was just a follower.
right, good point.
Someone on a pilgrimage.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we're actually dealing with the god. Probably just an acolyte or a follower or something of that nature. I don't think gods would need to put up posters, though I could be wrong. Sometimes they do get desperate when they don't have enough followers and start converting people against their will, but neither here nor there.
That's what Twitter's for.
True.
Oh, okay. I was worried. I didn't know. Okay.
Why
What
do
are
you
looking
ask?
at here? Well, I was worried that people would be not safe. I don't know.
Oh, we're probably not.
What? He goes back to panicking. What do you mean?
In all likelihood, no, this is probably not safe at all, but I know, it's the nature of magic.
That building that's above us on the map,
Mm-hmm.
how tall is it?
It seems to be 2 or
About
3
300
floors
meters.
high. So it's a sizable building.
Tio is gonna consider climbing it. But
Oh, God.
First assess if that would be a very offensive thing to do or not. He doesn't know. Actually, we'll just ask, Kairos, do you think people would freak out if I climbed that building?
Oh, yes, probably. Are you
Oh.
alright?
Well, I'm worried that I don't know what's gonna happen.
Oh, we'll be fine. I can do magic, and we'll just leave if things go badly.
Okay. Okay.
I'll tell you what, if things go sideways, I'll let you get a head start with my running magic.
But we would run away, but we would leave it behind to hurt others.
Well, then it'd be the other people's problem.
I guess you're right. Tio will just kind of pace back and forth, not knowing what to do for the moment,
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
chasing his own tail.
Kairos is like, well, that went well. I did my job. I calmed my friend down.
Sharid would approach Tio after the conversation and be like, did he ease your concerns?
A little bit.
And he made it 10 times worse.
And it just screams at the top of his lungs, no!
I'm not wanting to run up literally on the ceiling, but
Why would you do that?
to get a good view of the areas.
Who?
The Aryans.
Area. No. Vantage points. Vantage points. You understand.
I do not, but that's okay.
There's the dog.
Anyway,
Would that building, just by a look, be easy or difficult to climb?
are you asking Sharid?
Oh, yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah, Sharid. Do you think that building would be an easy climb?
Yeah. We just would need a ladder.
Well, I got claws.
We don't need a ladder. Ion, go up there. And he just immediately sends Ion flying up there. Why? What are we looking for?
Tio actually gets very relieved at that. He forgot. Oh, Ion could get a great view of the area to
Wait.
see.
I thought you said climb, not fly, dumbass.
Well, I would climb.
Why would you need to climb when you can fly?
But the question was climbing.
I know, but I used logic to assess an easier route to get there.
That is quite an assumption, sir.
Well, sometimes assumptions need to be made. What are we looking for? And he goes into the sentry mode thing where his eyes roll back and
I guess red-sashed individuals or points of threats?
So as you all are kind of having this conversation, you do notice a young boy kind of running through the crowd, runs up to Agora and hands her a note, almost comically sized, ideally for her shape, I assume. Hands it to
Giant
her,
scroll.
just like, here you go, and then runs off. It looks like
the
in the
note's
direct...
a regular size note.
No, it's actually printed on a really big piece of paper.
Oh, okay, that's what I thought.
No, yeah.
So he's like runs up with a giant poster.
Here you go, ma'am. And then he runs off. He seems to be running in the direction Vivian and Tio of where Grezik was sitting. Agora opens this note, and you see her actually kind of feel it out a little bit. And then you see that her face kind of sours a little bit, and she looks down at you all and says, I will beg your leave now. It seems I am needed elsewhere. And she starts to stand up.
Well, it was nice meeting you. And before she goes, I kind of take my hand and kind of like use my fingertip, kind of like ask her to lean down so I can whisper to her.
And she does.
And Vivian tries to say it as quietly as she can because she doesn't really want her friends to hear just yet. Do you know if there's others like me around? Possibly.
She ponders for a second, and she says, "You're not the first I've seen. However, I can't exactly say that you're common."
Okay. That's what I figured, but I figured it wouldn't hurt to ask.
Yeah. She says, "If you would like." Did you introduce yourself to her? I can't remember.
Yeah, I gave her my name. I didn't give her my last name, just my first name.
She says, "Are you searching for more like you?"
Possibly. Just with... Don't want to go into detail, obviously, but I want to try to see if I can find those that were unfortunate at the same fate as me, or others that might have became, I guess, sort of the same fate as me in a different sense. That way, maybe I could try to find out more answers about myself while also helping others along the way.
She says, "I can certainly keep an eye out for that." And she asks you, one such as yourself, do you sleep?"
Wait, do I need to sleep? I forgot. I don't. I know I don't breathe, but sleep I do not know. I'm assuming I still sleep.
I think you still sleep.
Okay, I'm assuming so. I'm
Yeah,
gonna do a
you still
quick check,
sleep.
but for now I'm gonna assume yeah.
Okay. And she looks at you and she says, "Very well. If I find out anything, you will hear from me, one way or another." And then she
Thank
continues to
you.
stand up. And you see her make her way towards that building just north of you. And you see, as she reaches that large building, the doors are huge on this building, supposedly to fit one such as Agora. You see Grezik, you see Carmine, and two other individuals kind of meet up in front of that building and head inside. So what would you all like to do?
What do you see anything? Do you see anything? You know, like, kind of annoy Kairos' entranced state.
Was I the only one that saw the people you just described?
No.
Oh.
If you followed your sight for where Agora is going, that you would have seen it.
Okay. I don't actually think I can hear anybody when I'm in the trance state. I think I can only see and hear what the owl says, so I don't think I'd even notice. Would I see anything like of interest going on?
You do spot the old man in the red sash by the fountain, just as Tio said.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, you don't notice anything of particular note at the moment.
Or like any threats or concerns or cloaked figures or other red sashes or...
Give me a perception
Roguish.
check with your owl.
I don't know where his sheet is.
I'll be right back. I can still hear you.
I need Owly sheet.
If you go to the menu, there should be a people icon, and under the player folder, you should see Ion.
Oh, okay. There we go. Okay, keen hearing insight. Advantage on wisdom checks. Or, I mean, sorry, advantage on perception checks. And it's shift to do advantage, right?
Yes. Alright. So with that, you do spot your owl scanning the marketplace, but something catches your eye off into town. It seems that a house is on fire.
Okay.
You see a small stack of smoke going up. It seems to be deep into town, so not many people notice. But you can see from your vantage point on top of the building that there's a small contingent of guard heading that way.
Okay. Kairos would immediately end the owl thing, calmly dust himself off.
When you end the owl thing,
Yeah.
when your eyes come to, Sharid is right in your fucking face.
So he looks at you and he's like, "Oh, hello."
What did you see?
That's when he dusts himself off. Well, I didn't see any threatening figures. Like that solid man you were talking about. Didn't see any roguish types or hooded cloaks, but I did see a fire over in town. There's a house that's wildly on fire currently. Would you like to go see it?
What?
I'm sorry, did you say a fire?
Yes. It's pretty bad. There were a lot of guards going that way.
Well, maybe we should go see if anyone needs any help, of course.
Any
Can't even
smashed
imagine.
individuals?
Other than the old man over there, no.
Did you say that there are guards running to the fire?
Were they running to it or away from it?
Two.
Yeah. To it.
I'm sure they got it under control.
Tia's gonna be so conflicted. Just looking back and forth between the party. Not sure what to do.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
I
feel
feel
like
as
we
though
should
we've-
go.
We've stayed our welcome here. Might
What
as
about
well.
the Yik worshipper? Yik-yicks.
Fuck your side quest.
What if
Did that quest thing. I gotta read it again now.
it was to escort?
Yeah, he's looking for escorts.
And it's that guy?
Yeah.
Seems like it. Should we tell him that we're gonna go check out a fire?
Perhaps. I probably would.
Well, I suppose it's up to everyone. I'm fine either way. We can either escort this gentleman, or we can play with the fire, I guess.
I wouldn't consider it playing with fire. I'd, hopefully put out the fire would be more like it.
Perhaps if I'm lucky, the day after tomorrow.
If you're lucky, I'll assume there'll be another fire the day after tomorrow, and he ribs you a little bit.
That could be either
I'm
good
sorry,
or a
what
bad
do you
thing.
mean there?
I'm just saying.
Nothing. Nothing at all. So, fire or old man god?
I can go inform the old man of the fire. Let them know we'll be back.
That's
I would
fair.
say for the
would
fire, I
too.
feel like this seems super urgent and it's happening
It's a literal
now.
fire. Yeah.
So if we don't do it now, we're not gonna be able to go to it
the
afterwards.
the whole town is already burnt down by the time we get there.
Exactly, so we should probably go now.
You guys
Please,
go
that's
there.
happening.
I'll go tell them and meet you there.
Sounds good. Let's go visit the fire.
Okay.
He starts
All right.
walking. Just
The smoke seems to be coming from the northern part of town. And as you all are heading in the direction of that exit of the marketplace, Tio, you kind of break off and speak with Men, who looks at you and is like, "Oh, well, welcome back."
Right. Hi. Sorry, I was in a panic from what you were saying earlier, and I wanted to let you know that we're here on assignment to escort you, but we saw that there's a fire outside, so I thought maybe we should go take care of that. I assume you understand being a follower of Yik Dix. He tries to leverage a moral
He's-
high ground.
He says, "Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. It's not like I'm going to leave without you. Or am I?"
No, surely you don't want to leave because then you wouldn't be able to try my new spicy stew that I'm going to try later, he says as he's slowly backing away already. So you just wait here, and we'll be back soon.
He just kind of points in your direction and nods like, exactly.
Yeah,
Not going to leave
okay.
without you. Go on, play with your fire.
You'll like druid craft a few red leaves, like, and you'll just run off.
So, all right. Let's do this. There we go. No, Harry. Why? Why do you hate me so? Come on. Come on.
You know,
There
we should
we go.
probably find some way to not die of the spores if we are going to escort that man.
That would be a good idea, don't you think?
No, it's fine.
It might help.
Just a tad.
So you all make your way to the northern end of town. Tio catches up to you right as you are all passing through the gate out of the marketplace. You can see that there are a few people kind of moving away from the fire, some of which are... You can see that their clothes are a little bit singed. Some people have a little bit of soot on them. Some are sitting on the side of the street being attended to by guards or a stray adventurer or two.
Stray.
Stray. The home itself is about 5 minutes up the street, so you all are quickly making your way there. Maybe not a full-on sprint. But by the time you get there, this building is erupted in flames. And a crowd has gathered outside, some to watch the flames and some to help those making their way out of the building. You can see that there are a few people trickling in and out. Not in, but out of the building. But you do, amongst the sound of the smoke and the flames, you do hear somebody yelling from inside.
Kairos claps his hands once, gestures towards the fire, and goes, "See? Fire! Marvelous."
I mean, that's one way to look at it, I
Is
suppose.
there something you want to tell us, Kairos? Are you an arson? Are you arsonist?
So he sounds
Did you set
like a
this fire?
pyromaniac a little bit.
It's beautiful.
Look at the embers.
You speak of it like
I'm
I
concerned.
do a meal being cooked in a broiler.
It's just fascinating, the nature of things. I suppose we should offer a hand.
Don't you think?
Any fountains nearby?
No.
Sources of water?
It is a cobblestone street, and other than the lampposts, you don't see any immediate sources of water around. Upon approaching the guard, they will plead for everyone to stay back, and kind of in passing announcing to the crowd, like, there are guards coming with water, please leave a path for them, make way. They should be getting here soon.
It seems like they have this under control.
But there's someone screaming, being burned alive right now?
You do hear again a scream amongst the flames, and some of the guards are. A couple are kind of working on preparing themselves to go in, but others are like, I don't know if I want to do that. I don't. That's a fire.
I mean, it's not like it's the World Trade Center or anything. It's be fine.
Oh my god.
No. Nick, no.
Too
I
soon?
mean, it's not.
Too soon?
Never not too soon.
Oh.
It's never.
And
Yeah.
we lose all the
How-
viewers. No,
Yup.
it's fine.
How far up did the scream come from?
So the building itself is 2 floors. It's fairly wide, making you think that there are multiple residences in this building. It seems to have come from the second floor.
And the fire is primarily top floor or bottom floor?
It's both.
The
It
whole
seems that
building. Damn.
it seems like most of the flames are on the bottom, but you can tell that there are flames on the second floor as well.
Unless there's immediate resistance, I think Tio would try and run in.
Okay.
But he would gingerly respect if the guards push him back.
At this point, they are trying to mitigate the fire, so you are able to slip past.
Yeah.
How bad is the fire at the moment?
It's not looking good.
Or
It
is
hasn't
the-
spread to any nearby buildings, but it's consuming the building.
Okay, next question. Is it on the exterior of the building?
Mostly interior. The exterior is a stone facade, so it hasn't. It's not catching.
Okay. And is it primarily downstairs that heard the fire, or is it upstairs?
You can see flames on both, but a lot more flames are on the bottom.
Perfect.
Crap.
I would like to use my spider climb if I can dash towards the building and just spider climb my way up to the top floor where I hear the screaming coming from.
Okay. So you are able to do that. You're able to get to a window that's been blown out from the fire.
Okay.
Tio, are you doing similar,
Wait,
or are you going in through the building?
If it is primarily downstairs, then he would try and climb. That would be in his instinct.
Kairos, you had something to say?
Yeah, as Vivian runs off, or as they both run off, I would say, when you get there, jump out the window. Trust me.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So you two side by side just start climbing up this building. Tio, you have claws and the like, but then you just see Vivian essentially like Spider-Manning her way up the building.
What?
Don't worry about it. It's fine. And I just keep going faster and faster.
Oh, my claws.
So you both make it to a window that's been blown out. You see an opportunity to get into the building amongst the flames.
And if there's any smaller flames that are around me when I enter the building, I'd like to try and use prestidigitation to kind of snuff some of the smaller flames out to make a pathway, if possible.
I'm going to say that as soon as you put them out, they spread and pick up again.
Yeah.
So it doesn't
Okay.
stay out.
Okay.
Um,
Do they stay out long enough for me to try to get through to where I hear the screaming?
not really.
Not really. Okay.
Both of you give me perception checks.
Okay.
Super.
I'm
You
not
both
natural 20.
you both hear another round of screaming coming from down the hall from where you have entered the building. Now there is a kind of wall of fire in the way, so if you would like to try and pass, give me dexterity saves.
Yeah, Tio would run through
Okay.
it.
I'm quickly checking my thing so I can see if I have any buffs for that.
You said saving throw?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. Let's just go for it. Dexterity saving throw.
Okay. So Tio, as you're passing through the flames, you manage, well, not manage, some of the flames kind of erupt just from kind of a break in the floor, and they do singe your tail.
Ah,
You
my tail.
take 3 points of damage. Vivian, you managed to avoid it, assumedly because Tio went first and just kind of caught the brunt of it, so you're able to be a little bit more careful. Now you two make your way further down the hall, and the room where you can hear this screaming come from, it looks like an area of the door has collapsed.
Back outside, Kairos goes, Sharid, aren't you made of stone? Hard cut back to the side of the building.
You hear screams outside. Your friends just hopped inside the building. You hear Tio say, "Ah, fuck!" And then you're like, "Huh? Aren't you made of stone?" Also, just realized I
No.
still have market music.
He was built better for this scenario.
Built different.
Unless Vivian takes an immediate action, he'll go to grab his spear to just kind of leverage and try and move debris out of the way.
So that'd be better for you because I don't really have anything to really poke and prod with at the moment.
Okay. Since you're using your spear, give me a athletics check at advantage.
Oh my goodness.
God damn. So Tio, you're prying up, and you manage to get it up a little bit where, Vivian, you could squeeze through.
Come on, you could make it. I only got a second.
All right, I'm gonna go for it.
All right. So we'll say you have to kind of get low. You kind of crawl through the space, but because Tio can't really open it up that high, you do get singed for 3 points of damage.
Okay.
And then the second your feet kind of clear that doorway, Tio, you run out of strength and it just collapses back down.
Jeez.
Vivian, you look around and you do see a woman holding a baby, screaming for help on the other side of this room.
Right. Don't worry, everything's gonna be okay. We're trying to help.
And she's just screaming, "Help! Help! I need to get out of here with my baby. I need to get out of here."
We're gonna get you out as soon as we can. And I try to make my way forward. Is there anything that's currently blocking me?
So as you start to take a step forward, the immediate 10-foot area between you and her collapses down to the first floor.
Okay. That's not good. So we all fall? All three of us?
No. The floor you're still standing on is fine, but there is now a gap between
Yeah.
you and her.
Ah, fuck. Okay,
Oh,
hold
I see.
on.
Is any of this visible from the outside?
No, you do hear the collapse of the floor, but you can't see what's going on.
Well, that didn't sound good.
Is there a window near her?
You can tell that there usually is one, but a part of the roof has collapsed, blocking it off.
Okay.
Blast.
That's your last name.
I wish I had this spell, but I don't. Okay. Oh, I
Tio's
don't.
smashing through the wall.
Okay.
I will warn him. Be careful. This floor just collapsed.
That makes him go faster.
Okay.
No, you need to move. Just.
Um,
All right. Oh, 'cause it's 10 foot. Well, I'm 5'9". How tall does someone usually get with their form of dread? Is there like a height
it
maximum,
doesn't technically.
or?
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily change your size category, but I would say it kind of pushes to the maximum of your size category. So you would probably get to about like 7 feet.
Shit. What I wanted to do is I wanted to turn into my form of dread to try to reach over and at least grab her baby first,
Mm-hmm.
but I
Um,
don't know if I'm gonna be able to reach because I don't want her to throw her baby and then me miss the baby.
Oh my god.
So Tio, roll me just a flat d20.
Alright.
You're
Not good.
You're like using your claws or whatever you can get your hands on. You're just kind of tearing away at the wall, but you're not quite through yet.
Okay. Yeah.
What you got, Viv? Anything?
Oh, this is
You
so
could always-
bad.
You can always try
This
and
is
jump
so
the gap.
bad. Me? I'm not that dexterous. I'm more of a charisma person. But you know what? Okay. Alright, I will use my form of dread.
Oh,
Jesus.
poor lady.
Ray.
So you
Man,
start
I'm gonna
to.
need you to not look at my face. Trust me on this.
She's
Everything's
frantic.
gonna
She's
be
not
okay.
listening to you. She's already scared. But
Okay.
as you're saying this, your bones start to stretch and crack. You start to grow taller. Your fingers start to distend a little bit, and you can see that she goes fucking pale. She looks at you
Oh,
and she's
no.
like, "Oh God,
Man,
help!" She
I'm
starts
trying.
screaming more.
No, this is. I'm trying to grow myself so I could try to help you and reach you better.
Kairos and Sharid, on the outside, you hear this woman scream again, but it's less of a help me scream and more of a what the fuck is that?
So I had a thought. I don't know so much as a retcon, but I feel like Kairos wouldn't just be outside like doo. Like he has a fucking owl. He would probably have sent Ion to like watch from a window or something because he literally said like jump out the window when you're ready. So
Mhm.
he'd probably be watching at the ready. Can I retcon and say that he's been viewing that to
We'll
a
say that
degree?
we'll say it was like a minute after they went in. You send Ion to. Do you send Ion into the building, or just kind of
just
watching from the outside?
not into the building, but like just so he could have some vision, see what he can see through a window, or just kind of patrolling around the house until he can see someone or something on
Okay.
the second floor.
So Ion will see Vivian and Tio head into the next room or head into the hallway through that wall of fire. So as Ion moves around, it can find the window that's currently blocked off by debris, and through just a few cracks, you can see the woman there with her child. And you see the collapsed floor, you see Vivian contemplating what to do, and then ultimately turning into that form of dread. Tio,
Okay.
give me another flat d20.
All right.
Well,
Okay.
are you waiting on me?
Yeah, I was gonna say, were you gonna say anything?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was waiting on you. I didn't want to interrupt your roll.
No. Go for what you were gonna say.
Oh, sorry. Okay. How would Ion be able to? I guess I would have him go in a little bit to see, like, but safely if he can. How messed up is the part that collapsed? Like, would there be if they were to get to the bottom of the part that collapsed, would they be able to exit the building?
There's really no safe way for Ion to see that.
Okay.
Because if Ion goes
Well-
down to the first floor, amongst the debris, it's literally just a lake of flames.
Okay. Then, but he's hearing this. So, like, does the woman and her child or whatever have access to a window?
It's currently blocked.
Okay.
I asked that too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Tio, as Kairos is determining this, you finally get some leeway with tearing at the wall. You're able to get into the wall, tearing boards out, and then Vivian, as you complete this form of dread transformation, the woman screaming, you hear behind you as one of Tio's claws just breaks through the wall to the other side as he's trying to just tear open a space.
Okay. Is he somewhat through or fully through?
At this point, he's about enough through that his face can fit through. He's still tearing out so that
Okay.
there's more room for you.
Okay. I'm going to carefully lean over the hole as much as I can without losing my balance and really try to extend my fingers as much as I can and be like, man, I need you to pass me your baby. I know this is a serious situation. I have a friend right behind me. He can quickly take her and get her to safety. I just need you to trust me.
It's like that creature from Ah Real Monsters. Ma'am, I need you to give me your baby.
Oh my
Give
god, right?
give me a persuasion check. I'm not going to say a disadvantage because that's a good explanation.
Okay.
So just a flat
Okay.
persuasion check.
16?
Okay. So she's apprehensive. She stops screaming, finally. She looks at you and she says, but my baby, but... She starts to slowly approach.
Yeah, just careful how you step. But I promise, I have a friend right behind me. I have friends outside. We are trying to do what we can to help. You'll get your baby back as soon as we can get your baby and yourself out of here.
So... Give me... In this case, give me a dexterity check at advantage.
Just like just dexterity is in not a saving throw?
Not a saving throw, just the check.
Okay. And you said at advantage?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, okay.
Okay. So with your elongated limbs, your longer fingers, you kind of find a spot to hold on to that doesn't seem like it's immediately crumbling away. You use that extra wingspan to reach out a good portion over the gap. And as the woman starts to hold out the baby, you can hear as more wood is cracking between this room, down below, everywhere else. And it takes her full stretch to really get even close to you. And she manages to not quite get close enough. She pulls back and she's like, I don't know if I can do this.
All right. I try to like
Do I-
a little bit more.
Do I have any visibility to them through this hole?
At this point, you've got enough through that you've got like your upper chest. You're able to like reach through. You can see what's happening.
Aerospace?
You do have room for an arrow.
He's going to start tying a rope to an arrow.
Okay. You take a few seconds to do that. We'll say that's while they're like stretching and trying to connect, but it doesn't quite work. So you now have a rope attached to an arrow, but it is real fiery here.
Oh, yes. So as soon as he can, he'll shoot it at the top part at the support beam. Probably the most secure part, he would assume.
Okay. So we'll say you knock the arrow, you manage to like weave your bow through, and in the most uncomfortable fashion, you pull back, you fire, it lands almost dead center between where Vivian's reaching and where this woman is reaching.
And you'll just support the rope. Hopefully that Vivian can see it right away as being a support area.
Mm-hmm. So Vivian, as she's reaching, as she just pulled back, you now have this rope just draping now from the ceiling. It actually drapes across your arm so that you notice it. And you can look back and you see Tio with his bow kind of shoved through this space.
And he's going to strap that bow to his body and just start kicking and scratching the wall to make more room.
So I can, if I want to, I can hang on to it to give myself just that enough room.
You can.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay, so I will grab onto the rope and do what I can to really get over to where the lady is to take her baby.
So as you reach back out to her, Kairos, you see all of this happening. And you can hear from the street, so from your owl's perspective, you hear out on the street more guards arriving, and you just hear more, make way, Sharid. It looks like another platoon of guards have come with various forms of water, buckets, troughs, whatever they could find, they essentially filled with water. And they look around and like, anybody who has available hands, help us put out this fire.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So, a couple clarifying questions.
Mm-hmm.
You said the window's blocked, right?
Yes, but just enough. It's open just enough that your owl can like find a crack through to see.
Yeah. Is it? How is that on? Is it on fire? The part that is crumbled.
It's a mixture of wood and like slate from the roof that's crumbled in. So parts are on fire, but not the whole thing.
And how high up off the ground would it be?
It's the second story of a building, so
I think the regular building is like 20 feet tall
something
for a
like
second
that.
story building.
Between 15 and 20.
Hey, could I see it? Could Kairos see it?
It's on the
guess
side of
it
the
doesn't
building,
matter 'cause I
but
can
you would
see
be
it.
able to see where the owl is flying at.
And would it look like if that debris were to be magically lifted, would that cause more of a structural issue?
It's hard to tell because it's all fragile right now.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I think he's gonna hold on just a little bit longer because he doesn't want to make the situation worse.
Mhm.
But he's got a backup plan.
Okay. So your owl looks on as it sees this woman and her baby moving a little bit closer to the precipice of where that floor collapsed in, as Vivian's reaching all the way across a good 3/4 of the way, and the woman hands off her baby to Vivian. And it's very apprehensive. She's like, I don't know if I want to give you my child, but I want my child to live. So
And I carefully take a hold of that baby, making sure that the points of my fingers obviously don't poke into the child itself, but like just enough to where she has enough of a grip on it that she will not lose grip of that woman's child.
So she hands you the child, and she looks at you. Despite the fact that you're in this form of dread, she's already scared. She looks you dead in the eyes, and she's like, please take care of my baby.
You have my word. And I will carefully lean myself back over and kind of hunch over so my head doesn't hit the ceiling, considering I am really fucking tall right now. And I will carefully but quickly hand off the baby to Tio and be like, try to get a hold of Kairos and Sharid. Get this baby to safety. I need to get this woman.
Okay.
Put a support down to get this rope tight because I need to grab her now. I cannot let her die.
Yeah, he takes off the bow and just fixes it into, I'm assuming, the exposed framing of the building. And then you'll run for the window.
All right. So you run your way back down the hallway. Again, you're met with that wall of fire. Give me an extra dex save to see how you make it through.
I say if you can cover up that baby with something, so
Yeah,
at least it's not.
He's just covering covering. He would take damage before letting anything happen to it.
You shield the baby, and your scales actually take a brunt of the damage. It's not like it hit you in a soft spot like the fire coming up from below before. You manage to just hop through the flame, and you make it to the window where you see Sharid helping douse the flames in water, and Kairos standing there wide-eyed. You can tell from your previous experience that he's searching around through his owl. But Vivian, you turn back, and the woman is looking around, not quite sure what to do. You do start hearing more cracks between the floor, ceiling, walls, and it's becoming much more audible.
I will do what I can. I'm assuming because he hooked the rope into a place where it's still taut. I will go ahead and grab the rope and try to pray it doesn't break, that I go out a little bit more and extend my full arm and hand and be like, it's now or never. You have to come with me.
Okay.
If you want to live.
So you extend your hand, and as the woman starts to come closer to grab it, the floor starts to give, and you see her height just kind of dip down as the floor starts to collapse at that very edge.
And I will try to further myself out, leaving at least 1 foot on the end of the floor that's still intact, and try to reach down more and grab her before she's able to fully fall through.
Okay. She is looking very scared. Give me another dex check.
Okay. Still at advantage or no?
This one just flat.
Just flat? Okay.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
What are the rules in our game of giving others inspiration?
I don't see why not.
Then Kairos witnessing that through the owl would bestow his magically owly imbued inspiration upon Vivian that he has acquired to let her roll with advantage, if you so deem it appropriate.
So the way I imagine it is it's a form of encouragement. How would you do that through the owl?
I'd like to think it's almost like a time disillusionment thing again in theme of Kairos, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where maybe like he sees what would happen otherwise. No, you haven't rolled yet, so it's kind of putting the cart before the horse, but maybe he sees what happens, and it's not like him reversing time because it's the inspiration thing, and I don't know, I guess he would just kind of have the owl do some, like, if you'll allow it, some kind of like a sonic resonance noise thing that like kind of is like ethereal and timey-wimey.
So I would like to
maybe
think
like
that...
it maybe it reminds her of Kairos and is like, it'll be fine. I don't know. I'm reaching.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
I would like to think Kairos wants it to be very timey-wimey.
Yeah.
But he at the very least wants to set off the illusion that it's timey-wimey. So
Yeah.
I will allow the owl let out this kind of shriek while it's diving through the first floor to come up under where it's collapsing, to use what little strength it has to just support that floor just
Love
a little
that
bit. And
wow.
Vivian, you hear this screech. It does remind you of Kairos, because you can tell that it's Ion. You can tell that it's Ion making that screech. So go ahead and roll it at advantage.
Okay.
Don't fuck it up.
So
Don't fuck it up.
just okay. Thank
That
goodness.
first one would have been great.
oh no.
So
I've been so
Kairos, Ion is now essentially fluttering those wings with all the fucking strength that it's got to keep that floor up for just a second longer.
Yeah.
The woman steps out one more time, and again the floor starts to dip down, and just as it's about to collapse, it does collapse on Ion, dispelling him. But as that floor starts to collapse, she is mid-air for just a second before, Vivian, you're able to stretch out that hand just a little further and grab hers. And she is now dangling above the flames. You have just enough strength to pull her back up and bring her back to a stable ground.
And I quickly put my full form around her to make sure she feels secure and safe, even if my form of dread is fucking scary as all hell.
She looks at the hole that Tio made in the wall, and it's big enough that you'd have to crawl through, but you can get through with some effort.
Okay. I'll let her go first. That way I know she's secure, because I would rather have her escape first before I do.
Mm-hmm.
But once she's through that hole, I will follow behind with her, and then I will ask her if I can wrap myself around her again. That way I can protect her from the flames as we go through that wall of fire. Okay.
So we'll say she gets through, just crawling through. She gets some cuts on her back just from the exposed wood and plaster. And as she makes her way through, you have to, like, because you're already longer, you're bigger, you have to, like, contort your way through. And since your bones are already separated, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
But it's fucking disconcerting to her. But she does allow you to wrap around and protect her. Now, Tio, while this is going on, you're at the window. And Kairos, you saw Tio make his way to the window, and you send Ion in to help Vivian. Your eyes are now your own again. You see Tio standing in the window with the baby.
Any people down below?
Not directly under you, but you can tell that there's kind of a fire line going on. Sharid's handing off water to a guard. That guard hands it off to another to put onto the flames, and just so on and so forth.
Could I land on anyone?
No.
Well, Kairos would have, coming to from that moment, would probably let out like an audible scream, like, ah! And then shake his head, and he would notice, Harry! would notice Tio in the window and just say, Tio, what are you doing? Jump!
He jumps.
Yeah, and then immediately, as a reaction, cast Featherfall on the both of them.
Ah, nice. Okay.
Okay.
So he's like bracing, getting ready at first, and his eyes shut, just waiting for that impact, and just...
Yeah, and then you just like, it's like this, I never thought about what it would look like, so feel free to have fun with that, Gary, but like they just slowly, like they start to immediately fall, and then slowly just start to descend down.
Mm-hmm. We'll say it
or
actually
in between
works like...
ion wings or timey-wimey shit or whatever you think is better.
Yeah, I was going to say they fall most of the way down, but just before they hit the ground, there's almost like the air beneath them starts to vibrate and kind of disassociate from itself, kind of creating this like pillow of just vacuumed air, creating a softer landing for you. But shortly after, you do see Vivian reach that window as well. Vivian, give me a deck save for the wall of fire.
All right. Oof. Okay.
That'll do it.
Not bad.
You managed to get through just as before with no problem. You see that Tio just leapt from the window, and upon inspection, you see that he is safely on the ground with the baby.
Thank goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Would I
Now-
see her in the window?
You see her in all her dready goodness. And
Hell
it's
yeah.
it's only a minute long, right?
It is,
So,
yeah. So I probably
I-
would have slowly started transforming back by now.
Yeah, with the sound of just bones cracking. The woman is not having it. Like, she's not about this life. As your bones crack back to their original positions.
Then as they do that, would 6 seconds have reasonably passed between the first casting of that
Yeah.
and this moment? Yeah. Then I would say, Vivian, I need you to jump and convince that woman to do so.
I mean, I can crawl my way down. I don't need to jump, but... Ma'am,
Good point.
I need you to jump. Trust me on this. My friend down there, he'll get you.
She looks
I just
down.
need you to
He's
believe.
like pointing at the baby, like, I just saved him. Whatever the baby is.
He just caught your baby.
She
trust
said,
me on this.
I don't know.
If she's gonna go the next 5 seconds, I'll push her out that goddamn window, I swear. It's like pushing someone off a plane to go diving.
Yeah, she doesn't. Like, so she's at the window, and you're like,
Bitch, you just
we
saw
don't
the
fucking
baby
have time for
float
this.
down.
And you just shove her out the window. And she
Nice.
is screaming her head off as Kairos, you cast Featherfall
Yeah.
and
again.
catch her. And she looks up at you, Vivian, in horror as you just pushed her out the window, and you just
I
start
told
climbing.
you you'd be fine.
You start climbing your way down. But as that's happening, the guards are still tossing water. An adventurer, seems to be a cleric, runs up to both the woman and the baby, kind of sets them to the side, and is kind of tending to their wounds a little bit. And other than the building burning in the background, things start to calm down a little bit. Some guards approach you and are like, that was a remarkable feat of heroism. You saved that woman and her baby. They would have
Yes,
died
I
in that
did.
building. We were looking for a way in. We couldn't get past the flames and the collapsed ceilings. So thank you.
Well, of course. Couldn't just let them stay in there. Been horrible.
So after a short debriefing period with the guards, you're allowed to go on your way. At this point, the flames have died down. The building is a frame filled with just smoldering embers. And it's just crowds of guards trying to both keep the crowds at bay and making sure that the area is safe to pass. Is there anything else that any of you would like to do?
I would like to pat Sharid on the back and just say, "Well done, Sharid."
Tia would have, during that process, probably shaped water to help extinguish more flame. And he would have maybe thought about seeing if the longbow was retrievable, but assume that it's long gone.
I'm going back in.
I gotta
He's
get
just
my
gonna
bow.
he'll have to make a new one.
Yes, no, you're not getting it.
And before they go, Vivian would like to just double check on the mother and the baby to make sure they're okay after they got out.
It takes them a while. Well, it takes the mother a while to like come down from the shock. But she looks up at you and she says, just you scared me. You genuinely scared me and frightened me. But thank you for doing what you did.
Of course. I don't mean to be scared, ma'am. That's not what I'm out here to do, but I'm out here to help save people. I don't want people to end up dying, especially if there's something I can do about it, I'm just glad that you and your baby made it out safe. That's all that matters.
And she's just kind of nodding in acceptance. She doesn't speak much else past that. But this continues on to about the hour of dusk. The sun's starting to drift around that line of the walls around the city. And that's what we're going to call it for today.
Sounds good.
Man.
Way to save a baby.
Hell yeah.
And a lady.
I was fully prepared to let that baby fall into the flames.
I know you would.
I was fully prepared.
I wouldn't put it past you, but that makes me so sad.
Exploratory question. What would you have done if I had used another spell to lift debris from that window? Would you have made that cause a collapse, or would that have worked?
I would have rolled for it. Because it could have done either.
Yeah, I just saw that going very badly, so I was like, I'm going to leave that as a backup.
I think you guys chose a good course of action. Good job.
Thank you.
And you know what?
My tail.
All of you get inspiration for next time.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I didn't do anything.
You
Yes, you did. You used
helped in your
water
own
to put out
special
the
way.
fire.
Yeah, you helped put out the fire.
You helped prevent the fire from spreading further.
You know what, Sharid? You didn't make it worse.
That is true.
You didn't make it worse. Sometimes that's enough.
Damn, if we would have both fallen through that floor, what I would have done is I would have put myself fully around both of them, the baby and the woman, and just pray that we got out of that fucking fire. And I would have fucking dashed through that fire to the front door if I could have.
It was gonna be full on Act 1 of Resident Evil 8. Like you fell into the flames just screaming.
I was just thinking of that scene from This Is Us. I think it's from fucking season 3 with Jack and the kids.
So, hope y'all enjoyed that. We'll pick it up again next week. And thanks everyone who decided to tune in. So, look forward to more next time.
Yes, bye everyone.
Bye-bye.